From the wrestlers' protest to the court verdict, Brij Bhushan's unfinished fight? On the morning of August 3, 2026, there was a strange silence in Delhi's Rouse Avenue court. Outside were cameras, inside were papers, and in between was a verdict about to arrive that had divided the entire country into two halves. On one side was former WFI chief and former BJP MP Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, who had been calling the allegations false from the very beginning. On the other side were those female wrestlers who had raised their voice against the country's most powerful sports system. Then the court said that the prosecution could not prove the charges, and along with Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, Vinod Tomar was acquitted as well. But did the entire story end with this verdict? Right here arises the biggest question. If the court acquitted him, was the protest wrong? And if the wrestlers are still talking about continuing the fight, what is the real fight ultimately about? The beginning of this story lies not with the verdict, but with that street of Jantar Mantar, where in January 2023, the country's medal-winning wrestlers suddenly sat on a sit-in protest. There was anger on their faces, but fear was even bigger than that. Vinesh Phogat, Sakshi, Malik, Bajrang Punia and several other wrestlers made serious allegations against the WFI leadership at that time. This was not merely a sports federation dispute. It was a public stand against power and silence. At that time, Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh was the president of the Wrestling Federation of India. That is, the very same federation that was connected with the wrestlers' trials, tournaments, careers and selection ecosystem. Right here was the first mystery. Why did athletes who win medals for the country come out onto the street against their own federation? If the system was working from within, why did they need a public protest? On January 23, 2023, an oversight committee was formed under the chairmanship of 𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻. The purpose was to investigate the allegations and calm the tension. But the fire of trust was not completely put out. The protest stopped for some time, but the question remained in the minds of the wrestlers. Would the inquiry be transparent? Would a fair process be able to run against a powerful federation chief? On April 23, 2023, the wrestlers returned to Jantar Mantar again. This time their allegation was that despite complaints, an FIR was not registered. Now the matter began moving from protest toward court direction. On April 25, 2023, the wrestlers reached the Supreme Court. According to the timeline of the Indian Express, the Supreme Court called the allegations serious and sought a response from the Delhi police. On April 28, 2023, the Delhi police registered 2 FIRs. One FIR was on the complaints of adult women wrestlers, and the second under the POCSO Act, because a minor wrestler was also said to be included among the complainants. Later, the POCSO case took a different turn. The minor complainant withdrew allegations, and in May 2025 the court accepted the closure report in that case. In the case of adult women wrestlers, the investigation progressed. On June 15, 2023, the Delhi police filed a charge sheet, which included IPC sections like alleged sexual harassment, assault, stalking, and criminal intimidation. A charge sheet does not mean conviction. It merely means that, according to the investigating agency, material is present to conduct a trial. The real test begins in court. In July 2023, Brij Bhushan and Vinod Tomar got bail. Outside were political statements. Inside, the legal process was moving slowly. The matter had now shifted from the protest ground to the courtroom. Emotion is visible on the street, but in court, every matter passes through evidence, testimony, and cross-examination. In May 2024, the court cleared the path to frame charges against Brij Bhushan. According to the Indian Express report, the court considered that sufficient material was present to run a trial on certain allegations. There was an important twist here. Framing of charges is not proof of guilt. It is merely the court saying that the allegations are serious enough that a trial should take place. The trial ran in camera. This means the proceedings were not open like a public courtroom. In cases like sexual harassment, this is done keeping in mind the privacy and sensitivity of the complainants. During this time, statements of women wrestlers were taken, statements of officials were taken, and the defense conducted cross-examination. Every word, every date, every memory passed through the court's microscopic test. Allegations were said to be connected to foreign tours, warm-up areas, photographs, medal ceremonies, and federation-related interactions. The defense said from the beginning that the allegations were false, political, and motivated. Brij Bhushan said several times that if the allegations were proven, he would accept the strictest punishment. Outside, the country's public opinion had become divided. To some people, the wrestler's stance felt like courage, while to others it felt like the matter had connected with politics and a federation power struggle. The scene of May 28, 2023 became the most dramatic public moment of this story. The attempt to march near the new parliament, police action and the images of the wrestlers got stuck in the national memory. Then on May 30, 2023, the wrestlers reached Haridwar to immerse their medals in the Ganges. This was not merely a symbolic act, it was a cinematic moment of broken hope. Medals, which were once national pride, suddenly became the language of protest. The country saw for the first time that an athlete can turn even their achievement into a question. But the world of court is different. Here, proof gets more importance than medals, sympathy, anger, or political identity. And proof has its own rigorous language. Testimony of many witnesses took place in the trial. According to reports, the prosecution examined 32 witnesses, which also included complainants and people connected with the federation. Several media timelines described this as a long process with more than 100 hearings. That is, this was no rush decision, but a years-long courtroom journey. On July 2, 2026, final arguments were completed and the court reserved the verdict. Now everyone's eyes were on August 3, 2026. On August 3, 2026, according to a timeline report by the Times of India, Rouse Avenue Court acquitted Brij Bhushan, Sharan, Singh and Vinod Tomar. The court's basic meaning was that the prosecution could not prove the allegations beyond reasonable doubt in the trial. In criminal law, the standard of doubt is very high. Here is a major legal nuance. Acquittal does not mean that public debate automatically ends. It means that the evidence present before the trial court did not reach conviction. After the verdict, Brij Bhushan said that he did not consider himself guilty from the beginning. He called it a day of happiness for himself and termed the allegations a conspiracy. His supporters welcomed it. On one side was relief and celebration, as if after a long legal battle, a camp had taken a breath. But on the other side, the wrestlers refused to admit defeat. According to a Times of India report, Vinesh Phogat and Bajrang Punia said that the legal battle is not over yet. They said that the verdict will be challenged in a higher court. That is, the trial court's decision might become not a final emotional closure, but also the beginning of the next legal chapter. Right here lies the most sensitive point of the story. On one hand, the court considered the evidence insufficient. On the other hand, complainants are saying that power, pressure and influence made their fight difficult. The story will have to be understood only by combining both these aspects. It is easy to speak making any sides claim the final truth, but caution is necessary in responsible storytelling. In a criminal case, the burden lies on the prosecution. No matter how serious allegations are, for a conviction, evidence must measure up to the court's strict standards. In sexual harassment cases, incidents are often alleged in private spaces, closed rooms, or power-imbalanced environments. Therefore, the question of evidence and testimony becomes very complex. But the court cannot give a conviction on emotion. The judge has to look at record, contradiction, consistency, and legal proof. That is why this case did not remain merely Brij Bhushan versus wrestlers. This case tells that public justice and legal justice often move at different speeds. On one side, the Brij Bhushan camp is saying that the truth has come out. On the other side, the wrestlers' camp is saying that the fight remains. Both narratives are now looking toward the appeal stage. The deeper layer of this story lies hidden in the power structure of sports federations. An athlete's career is affected not just by talent, but also by selectors, federations, camps, and administrators. When that very authority is accused, making a complaint does not remain merely a legal step. It becomes a matter of career risk, social pressure, and personal courage. Right here comes forward the importance of things like the internal complaints committee, athlete safety systems, and transparent grievance redressal. If the system were trustworthy from within, perhaps the matter would not have reached the street. The WFI controversy caused great damage to Indian wrestling. Federation politics, election disputes, international scrutiny, and athletes' training uncertainty all combined to weaken the image of the sport. WFI President Singh welcomed the acquittal and called the allegations political. But the big question for the sport ecosystem is how trust will come back. Because whatever the verdict may be, young athletes need that assurance that making a complaint will not end their career. And administrators need that assurance that protection will be provided even against false allegations. That is, the solution lies not in the victory of any one side. The solution lies in credible institutions where the complaint is fair and the defense is fair too. Now, if the matter goes to the High Court, the focus will be on trial court record, legal grounds, and judgment reasoning. Only after the detailed judgment comes out will the next strategy be clear. The appeal court can examine whether evidence assessment was correct or not, whether legal standards were properly applied or not, and whether any interference in the acquittal is warranted. But in public memory, this case will not be remembered merely by dates. It has become a layered story of Jantar Mantar medals, fir charge sheet, trial and acquittal. From January 18, 2023 to August 3, 2026, this journey was not merely a criminal case. It was a test of power, voice and accountability in Indian sports. The most important insight is just this. The court has given a verdict on legal guilt, but questions on the credibility of sports institutions are still demanding answers. If an athlete has to come out onto the street to get justice, the system has already weakened somewhere before. This very point is the biggest hidden truth of this timeline. Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh has been acquitted by the trial court. Vinod Tomar is relieved too. But the wrestlers have left the next door of the story open by talking about going to a higher court. Now this matter does not merely ask what was proven in court. It also asks when India will give its athletes a safer path to complain, defend and restore trust. On one side are medals, on the other side are court files. On one side are supporters' claps, on the other side is the preparation for the wrestlers' appeal. And standing in the middle is the trust of Indian wrestling. This is the payoff of this story. The verdict has arrived, but the question is still alive because sometimes a case ends in the courtroom, but its impact in society is heard for a very long time.
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible. But in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.